Hey, welcome back to the DBB channel. Oh, it has been a while since my last video, and I must say, commentating is something that I always miss. UNIONARENA, also known as UA, has a regular set release every month. Now, every month there will be a different IP introduced, and the last month we had the first year anniversary for UA itself. So we had a special 3 set release in the form of Nikkei, JJK Volume 2, and Haikyuu. Now, very amazing sets, and usually for every set, they'll be expected to change the meta. And today we have a final game, and it's actually a mirror match. It's the Besto Friendo deck from Jujustu Kaisen. So without further ado, let's dive straight into the game itself, and we do see actually the right player actually missing the first AP turn by just going for the draw because he missed the zeros. However, he does actually recover nicely because he does have the 0 here, and then going for the 1 drop here, looking at top 3. And with JJK Volume 2, it actually introduced this new card called Miwa, which is just a double energy. It might not seem too amazing on the surface level, but however, having that second double energy for the deck, it really helps the deck to hit that 5 energy and 6 energy consistency much more easier. He does drop the Miwa here because in his hand, we do see a bunch of energy bridges he has already, so he's not going to be too afraid. The left player does go for his second turn here, going for the Ultimate Mekamaru, which is newly introduced in JJK Volume 2 as well, which is just a 0 drop. And then he's going to go for his second AP here, which is going to be the Miwa, allowing you to draw 1 and then discarding 1. So aside from just being a double energy, this Miwa does allow you to draw 1, discard 1, really helping you to have that kind of consistency which the whole Kyoto school actually lacked in the previous set. Now we do go into the first 3 AP turn for the right player here. He's going to go for the first AP, going for the Ultimate Mekamaru, which basically just gives energy when you do become active. And with the second AP, he does go for the Miwa, which actually he did discard in the previous turn because he had already multiple copies of them. He's going to drop another Miwa into the drop zone, alright? And then we're going to go for the final trigger here, which allows him to stand 2 APs. And with the third AP, he does go for the Todo, I believe, which is the 4 cost which is released in the file set. So for JJK, they actually received 2 waves of support already. And with this new Todo, it does allow him to swap energy, or just swap with the energy line, pushing out that 1 cost to the front line, and then going for the raid immediately into this double damage Todo Aoi. Now Todo Aoi does provide you double damage and of course clapping, but it doesn't have anything to clap on the opponent's side, so they're going to hit to the whole life area for 2 damage. It does hit to the draw and the raid trigger, so it's going to draw 1 thanks to the event, and then of course raiding for free into that Todo for himself, swapping that 1 cost with that Miwa. So the swap might not seem very significant because it doesn't remove a body onto the board, but however, it does swap your opponent's energy line, and if your opponent didn't really actually expect it, they would have been choked. Now what do I mean by choke in this sense is because they are not able to breach their plays properly again, and they might have been too greedy. But however, the right player did expect it with the Ultimate Mekamaru being set up ready, so it does have 4 energy for next turn, which isn't too bad. But do take note that Todo does have the double damage every single turn, which is going to be pretty scary if you don't answer it as soon as possible. But we do see the Miwa coming down for the draw 1, and I would say both players at least is definitely different, but he does have his own final as well. So he does have 3 new AP to work with again. He's going to go for the first AP, and actually going to go for that Todo, which is the foul set one, which allows him to swap energy if he wants to. So he's going to swap with the Ultimate Mekamaru in the back line, and this allows him to have 1 more attacker already ready to attack. Now with this second AP, I would imagine he will want to remove that Todo immediately because, like I said, Todo does have the double damage every single turn. It looks like he does have the Ultra Cannon, which is basically the special for the deck, removing that Todo Aoi immediately. And we do have 3 attackers against that 1 defender for the enemy. And we do see another Todo Aoi. Man, this guy is definitely going for the damage as he swapped the Miwa with the Ultimate Mekamaru. I don't think you'll affect too much here, but however, Ultimate Mekamaru does have only 2.5k power, so it does affect in the future run. Now we're going to see the first double damage done by the Todo Aoi hitting to the final as well as get, so not going to do too much here. Going to add the Todo to his hand, and the second Todo Aoi swinging again. Going to push down to 3 already, now blocking the Ultimate Mekamaru. Let's hit into the get one more time. And we do hit into the active trigger, which does give the Ultimate Mekamaru 3k power, allowing him to block the next attack, although he does already have the power to block it, so it's not going to affect too much. And it's going to hit to the 4th life here, hitting to a special, clapping away that Todo Aoi as well. So that special was definitely much needed. Imagine he doesn't hit to the special, this game would have gone way behind. Now we do have only 2 life left for the right player here, and he definitely has to recover He has to ensure that he does have always 4 bodies in front, because you don't want the opponent to just start chipping in damage already, because in this game when you reach 0 life, you do automatically lose. Now let's push out the 1 cost into the front line here, and the first AP he does go for another Ultimate Mechamaru in the back line, and with 4 energy in the back line, he's going to go for the Goodwill event, which allows him to really pick up 1 card from the drop zone in the form of Kyoto School and then immediately play for free. In this sense, he's going to go for the Todo Aoi, swapping energy with that old man in the back line here, and with the final last AP, he's just going to go for the Todo Aoi raid, which allows him to have 4 cards in the front line. So I would say it's very well played from him here, because it's all pretty well planned. He's going to swap that Todo Aoi into the back line, swapping that Miwa in front, and we do start to see some sort of choke for the left player here, as he does have only 2 energy for his side. However, you're going to see the Todo swinging for the first 2 damage here. Looking at the first 2, we do see a no trigger as well as a draw, so nothing too significant here, so it's pretty blessed for the right player here. The right player is going to swing with the Ultimate Mechamaru here as well with 2.5, but Miwa does have 3k power, effectively blocking it. Going to swing the 0 cost here, hitting to a no trigger once again, and a 1 cost will swing as well. Will he eat into the final 1 damage here? He does actually eat it, so that's pretty amazing, because there's actually a new card on the form of Ultimate Mechamaru that actually is the final form for him. It does have Impact 1 as long as you have Miwa on the field, so having to eat to his 1 life here is definitely very dangerous for him. However, because maybe he's just expecting a trigger from his life to actually change the pace of the game, he's just going to go for the new color trigger Ultimate Mechamaru, which allows him to minus 1k when on play. Going to go for the Todo Aoi to allow him to swap energy as well, and both players actually maintain that 4 characters in the front line, which prevent the opponent from chipping in damage, especially when they are at the final 1 life. Now you see the first Todo swing is going to be blocked immediately with that 1 cost, because it doesn't have any impact 1, so no damage has been taken. The Miwa will swing as well. It looks like he's able to block with the 0 cost here as well, and the final 2 attacks he does have the Ultimate Mechamaru and the Todo to block it, so this is definitely a good turn for him as no damage has been done, but he definitely has to recharge his energy line, and of course the front line to have 4 units once again. He's going to go for the AP draw 1, so a slight sense of weakness there because he doesn't have any significant cards to play. Maybe he's looking for the Ultimate Mechamaru, who knows. He does drop the Ultimate Mechamaru, the new color trigger here, to actually minus 1k on the opponent's Ultimate Mechamaru, and does have another one in his hand which allows him to minus 1k again. And in this game, when you do reach 0 power, it immediately kills it off, so very well played here. But however, because he doesn't have 4 attacking units to attack the opponent's front line, opponents still live for another turn. So we're actually about turn 6 or turn 5 for the opponents, and he's going to actually push up the Miwa as well as the color trigger to the front line, which allows him to guarantee that 4 cards in the front line again. He's going to use the first AP here to actually go for the Miwa to allow him to draw and discard 1. So both players must be digging for the Ultimate Mechamaru, because it does have a very strong Impact 1 skill which can possibly change the game here. It looks like it does have the final 2 AP going to the Miwa from the old set, which allows him to minus 3k on top of 1 card and does have a double attack. So this could be the final turn actually for the left player, as long as he can survive and push up the Miwa into the front line. And he does use the Todo effect to actually swap himself the Miwa, and does actually redecide to actually push up the 2k Miwa instead. So with 4 attackers, you're going to swing in the front line. The first Todo will swing and the color trigger will block it immediately, because you don't want the double damage to go through. The second attack will be through Todo, and Todo will block it of course with 4k power. And the third color trigger swing will actually do 1 damage here, hitting to a get, putting it to hand. And the last final swing from the Miwa won't go through because of the color trigger still standing on the opponent's side. Now the big problem is definitely the Miwa in the energy line, which does have double attack, which allows him to actually swing over the 4 energy line or either 4 characters in the front line, dealing that 1 last damage. Now for decks in Union Arena, they usually can't really deal with the energy line, and only certain decks can actually pull out the cards from the energy line, and one of those decks is actually the Todo Aoi from JJK, which allows him to actually now swap the Miwa into the front line, as well as pushing up the Todo to the back line. Now, even though Miwa have this very unique skill whereby it is forced to block the first attack, however on the first block, it can actually minus 3k power on the opponent card, so effectively it's actually a 5k blocker. However, we do have Todo, which exceeds all potential, swing with 6k actually with this first swing, which allows him to actually hit over the Miwa, and the Miwa is now gone, which removes the whole threat of the double attack in the next turn. And this actually hurts the opponent because the opponent now has a Vic for another potential endgame, and he'll actually force to block all the attacks except leaving one Todo AoE in the front line. So a very good play from the right player here. And also because of Todo AoE allowing him to stop the energy line, pushing out the Mio in front to actually deal with it effectively. The left player is going to force to push out the Todo AoE from the previous turn, and push out the Mio as well. Now we are down to 1 life for both players, and definitely the scary card is the Ultimate Mechamaru from the new set. He does drop the Iori here, looking at top 3, hoping to see the Ultimate Mechamaru, but I think he actually missed all of them here, does hit into the Todo, instead adding it to hand. And of course, if you add the card to hand, you are supposed to discard 1 as well. So this game doesn't really allow you to plus a lot. He does drop the 0 cost here. And the final last AP, I suppose he's just going to drop a body in front to prevent him from getting game here. He does drop the Mechamaru here, allowing the -1k on 1 card, but it's not going to do too much because with the 4 energy line or the 4 characters in the front line here, it's going to effectively block every single attack here. It's going to start swinging them, and of course every single attack will be blocked here very nicely, and this will be passed over to the right player once again. And this is definitely one of those final turns already, as we do draw into the final few cards. He does go for the 1 cost Yuri once again, looking at top 3, and will we have the luck to actually see the Ultimate Mechamaru? And he does indeed see them. He's going to add it to hand immediately, and of course discard 1 card from his hand. He does discard the 0 cost Ultimate Mechamaru and drop it 1 more time, and then reading it immediately, allowing him to actually kill our 3.5k character on the front line as well. It's going to kill off their Todo AoE. And then of course with the impact one, this is definitely game unless we do see a final trigger for the net player here. It's going to start blocking all the attacks here. And of course to prevent the impact one from closing up the game, it does hit into the final life, and it does hit into the special, but in this game when you do hit 0 life, you immediately lose, and congrats to the right player here. Now this is the right player deck list, and this is the left player deck list. Thank you guys for watching till the end, and do remember to drop a like and a comment and subscribe to the channel to expect more contents like this in the future.